Welcome to another episode of Tatiana and Angelica Live. I'm Tatiana Morochek.
And I'm Angelica Morochek. My twin sister and I are juniors in the International Baccalaureate Diploma program at Curtis High School. Today we're joined with two special guests that we see every day at school, Miss Kathleen Francis and Mr. John Crowdell. Ms. Francis is the IB Diploma Program Coordinator and a teacher for IB Standard Level Math classes. Mr. Crowdell is the IB Diploma Program Supervisor and a teacher for AP Calculus.
They are vital to the foundation of the IB Diploma Program at our school.
Thank you for joining us today.
First, I want to thank you for inviting us on the show. This is
No,
a
it's
great
an honor to have
opportunity.
you guys here.
I'm a local Staten Island my whole life, and I went to college on Staten Island, College of Staten Island, majored in math. And then I moved on to the education world where I taught in junior high on Staten Island, IS 27, and then I got the opportunity to transfer to Curtis. And that's where we are now.
Awesome, awesome.
I also went to the College of Staten Island and I did a major in math. I did my master's at CUNY Brooklyn College, and I'm currently a graduate student at CUNY Hunter College for educational
very
leadership. And I am born and raised on Staten Island as well. So I'm happy.
Very nice.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
No, thank you for coming. So this program is globally recognized. What does this mean, and how many IB schools are there in New York City?
So part of the International Baccalaureate's philosophy is international mindedness, and the biggest core point of the program is to promote this perspective of global citizenship. And so that's included in all of the courses. But as far as how many schools are on in New York City, there's about 15, but that number is increasing every day within the New York City and New York State, because the IB program is becoming more and more popular.
Curtis is known for our sports teams, but what do you think that Curtis should be most known for?
Well, we do have great sports teams. This weekend, the football team's playing in the semifinals. Hopefully they'll end up playing in Yankee Stadium next week after they win on Saturday. I'd like Curtis to be known for, we have 9 small learning communities, one of them being the IB Diploma Program. We have the IB Career Pathways Program, as well as nursing, law, software engineer institute, and others. And those communities is what Curtis should be known for. Students could choose their path, follow through it, pick up skills in any of those communities. And our goal is to prepare them for the next level, be it college, the workforce, military, whatever it be. So whichever community they're in, we want them to have a rigorous education and to pick up as much as they can.
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool because Curtis High School as a whole is diverse in education and supports a lot of what students would be interested in. So I like that aspect. As an IB student, Angelica and I have to write our IA, do a historical investigation, and work on our extended essays this year. So can you please tell us a little bit about those?
Part of being an IB student, one of the benefits and one of the things that makes the IB program different, it's a holistic program. Students have to take classes in 6 subject areas. And within each of their courses, so for example, you guys mentioned I teach the math course. You have to do what we call an internal assessment, or internal project for each course that counts towards your grade in the course. So for my math students, and you'll be doing this this year, right?
Yes, we're starting next month.
Yeah, you're starting
actually.
it. Yeah, so you'll be very familiar with this. You're going to be writing a 6 to 12-page research paper on mathematics, and there's something similar in each of the courses. So, for example, you mentioned the historical investigation.
Yeah.
Some of the other courses have science projects for your, physics or your biology. So that's one of the things that makes this program stand out, is that assessment is not just taking a test on one day. It's about project-based, inquiry-based learning. So those things that you mentioned, that's what that's related to, and that's what makes our program really different.
So as you mentioned before, what are the 6 main subjects that you have to take, and how does that affect the scoring at the end of the year? Because I don't think people know that it's a 2-year program. So can you please talk more about this?
Yeah, I'll elaborate a little bit. So the IB Diploma program is a junior and senior year 2-year program, as you mentioned. Students are required to take at least six subjects in the major subject area. So that's English, foreign language, history, science, math, and then an elective. In addition to that, the students are required to take a theory of knowledge course, and they're required to do an extended essay, and they're required to do a creativity activity service project. So those are the main components that allow students to pursue an IB diploma, which is an international high school diploma. So you can go anywhere in the world with that diploma, and it's recognized throughout the world. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So you're getting a New York State diploma, an Advanced Regents diploma, as well as this international IB diploma. So
awesome. So the IB Learner Profile describes a broad range of human capacities and responsibilities. They go beyond academic success. Some of these traits on the profile include inquirers, knowledgeable, thinkers, communicators, principled, open-minded, caring, risk-takers, balanced, and reflective. Which one of these traits best distinguishes a student among a selective applicant pool, in your opinion?
To choose one is very difficult, and as a parent of 2 teenage children, I wished my children exhibited all those attributes. I don't want to pick one, and there's some days my kids exhibit a couple of them, some days a couple more, some days one. You know, it goes both ways. So to sit here and say which trait do I want the IB students to represent, to exemplify, it's hard to choose just one. And I know Ms. Francis is going to talk about an activity you did today.
So we meet with all the IB teachers meet at least once a month, if not more. Most of us meet more. And I facilitated a little activity during our meeting this morning where I had the teachers pick somebody that they admire. It could be somebody famous, somebody in their family, somebody that they look up to. And I had them choose 3 of the learner profile qualities that they would use to describe that person. And it was very hard. The conversations were very rich, but it was really hard for the teachers to pick just 3. Many of them wanted to pick, for example, one of the teachers, she chose her aunt, who was a theologian, and she was very, she looked up to her, and she immediately said what Mr. Crowdell said: I can't pick just 3, I'm going to pick 10. So these are things that we want to exemplify, and I think it depends on who you ask, but all of them, and as I mentioned earlier, this is a holistic program, so we want our students to be well-rounded in all of these areas. So it's hard to just pick one.
In our Spanish classes, we have to write articles and write responses based on articles about how we can use the learner profile in another language, which is very fun. We enjoy it. We get assignments like that every month.
Yeah, we're actually starting to learn how to say some of the IB Learner Profile qualities in Spanish. So.
Oh, that's great.
It's cool.
You mentioned before that every student has to take a theory of knowledge class. What is that exactly?
All right. Theory of knowledge is a class that students have to take over the course of the 2 years in the International Baccalaureate Diploma program. So many activities you do is the activity Ms. Francis just referred. Mr. Williams you will do that activity next year.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll choose 3. You might end up having to choose 1 and discuss why you chose. But theory of knowledge is a course of exactly what it sounds like, about knowledge. How do we know what we know? How do the 6 disciplines, the 6 courses you take, intertwine? Some things we take for granted that we know. Some things we learn, and it starts to dive into how do you know what you know, and they do a lot of work around the learner profile. So it's almost like a twofold course. So it's discussion based. So don't look for a test at all. It's discussion based. There's a lot of reflecting in the course throughout the year, and when you guys will start it in January, I have the chance to go in there and just see the IB students, the 30 or 35, whatever, the 34 students that are in there. I see them in a different light being the math teacher. Now I see them conversing, talking about deep topics. Where I'm like, you're the same kid who's in my AP Calc class. So it's a great course, and you should look forward to it next year.
Yeah, our teachers are actually starting to tell us about it, and the topics seem pretty thought-provoking, so I'm excited.
But most importantly, the extended essay. I think that in addition to, we talked about the historical analysis, our papers for our history classes, the internal assessments for our math classes, but the extended essay is what a lot of the IB students, it takes a lot of their time. You need a mentor. It takes a year-long process to find a topic to write about it. Can you please discuss more about it, please?
So it's like writing a thesis paper, which is what you would do in college, in high school. So that's one of the core components of the program. And students are required to write a 4,000-word essay on a topic where they have to identify a research question and, as you mentioned, find a mentor, or we call them supervisors. And over the course of several months, they do research, they have to write, they meet with their supervisor to get guidance on their paper, advice on where to go. But this is an independent project.
Yeah.
And I think the benefits are immense. Students have to learn how to, they're doing research in high school that I mean, I'll be honest, when I did research in high school, it was not at this level. I didn't conduct research like this until college. And, you know, in addition, if you, for example, if you choose a topic in the science, you have to collect data. You have to analyze that data. You have to do experiments. So it's really forcing inquiry-based learning and driving that independent learning that's really necessary for the future of our education system.
The one good thing about it is you choose the topic. So you choose something you're passionate about. Choose something you want to research about. It's not a book report. It's something that, you know, that you want to find out more. So you choose it, and that's why a lot of kids don't see it as such a burden, because they're picking it. They're saying, I want to learn more about this, and they dive into it.
Yeah. Miss Pillarella, our English teacher, she's actually telling us a little bit about the topics from last year, and some of them were really interesting, so I actually wanted to read some of the essays.
Can I ask you a question? Do you have any idea what you might be interested in researching?
I'm very interested in world studies and global politics. They're different, for all the viewers, there are different topics you can go into from the 6 main subjects, and so one of the subjects is history, and that's history, global politics, and world studies. And I'm actually looking into world studies and looking at current events with Hong Kong and the protests there, and maybe connecting that to the Tiananmen Square massacre, because I was reading a lot of New York Times articles, and a lot of writers are saying that there is a lot of correlation between the two of them, especially through images. There are a lot of that are very similar from the protests of the civilians. So I'm looking into that.
Yeah, this year I had the honor of interning at Senator Charles Schumer's office, and I was able to do some research about detrimental suicide apps, such as the Momo app and Blue Whale app, that promote suicide. And so I'm thinking of going into depth into looking at those apps and the software, and maybe seeing the global impact it's had. Yeah.
It's great. And you both mentioned topics that were global topics, which connects right there to the international mindedness perspective of the IB program.
Yeah.
So that's great. Yeah.
So as important supervisors to this program, I'm sure you have a lot of students that seek important advice because they value your opinions. So what's the most common advice that you find yourself sharing with students?
Should they drop a course? A lot of the students ask, which courses should they take? I mean, in their sophomore year, which courses should they take? Because they do have choice. They don't have a choice for English, they don't have a choice for the history, and foreign language, but the science they have to choose. The math we give them some say in, but especially their elective. Should they take a second science? Should they take psychology? Should they take dance, theater, what? And that's a big question at the end of their sophomore year when they have to choose. I don't choose for them.
What are the different electives that people can take?
So we offer theater, we offer visual arts, film, psychology, dance, and students could also take a science course as well. Those are the options for the elective. So on top of the major subjects, you choose one of those and you pursue that. So as Mr. Kreidel said, it's something that you want to choose something that you are interested in, but it's hard because in high school, you're still learning, you're still exploring what your interests are. So that choice is not always easy. So that's why this conversation happens a lot, on what classes I should take, what should I keep. But we really try to guide you guys in the right direction. If I had to say the biggest piece of advice that I give to students is get sleep and manage your time. And most importantly, understand that failure is part of the process. It is a stressful, rigorous program, but that's the point of it. It's preparing you to persevere and to overcome challenges, because that's how you're going to grow. So when I have conversations, I have that academic counselor side of me, and I meet with students individually, it's about handling stress, balancing, being balanced, which is one of the learner profile qualities. So, you know, I just try to really encourage students to keep pushing through and to sleep, because that really helps with stress levels, but to understand that, you know, we're not all perfect and we're learning to grow. So.
In addition to the TOK, the extended essay, historical investigations, internal assessments, every student has to have a CAS project, which stands for creativity, activity, and service. So can you please talk more about this and what is necessary for the CAS project and the community service involved with it?
So CAS is a component of the program that's it's supposed to be documented over the course of 18 months. So this is really where I'm going to use the word balanced again, because it's really, I guess that is an important quality in the learner profile. But, you know, we don't want students in this program to just be academically strong, because in order to engage in IB courses, you have to have good academic standing. But what's more important is that you're well-rounded. You participate in possibly sports, in music, in theater. And I'm going to tell you guys are perfect examples of well-rounded students from what we see, because you do a lot, right? And this activity right now, what we're doing here, is a part of CAS. You guys are being creative, and you're showing your creative side to give back to the world, right? I mean, to give back to Staten Island. Yes. You know, I just want to make sure that that's noted, that this is part of what would define CAS. Some students exemplify CAS by doing, so one of the pieces is a community service project that students have to figure out themselves, something that they're passionate about changing. So, you know, many students do, we have a swim-a-thon that raises money for cancer awareness. We do, several of our students tutor students whose second language is English. So we're leveraging our skills to help others in a variety of ways. Another CAS project, we had students donate school supplies to Sri Lanka, because her family was affected in Sri Lanka. And she was passionate about that. So she took these school supplies and delivered them with her family. It's just an amazing thing. So that global mindset. But CAS is also being a part of teams, being a part of clubs. So there's a lot of ways to exemplify CAS and to meet that requirement. But it's one of the fun parts, one of the more fun parts about the program.
The whole idea of CAS is, when you choose a project, choose one that's going to last. If you could have a project that students duplicate year after year, years after you're gone. We had an IB graduate from the class of 2013. She emailed me last year to give back, and here, years later, she inherited, I guess the word is, 500 daffodil bulbs, and wanted to know if I could use them. So what we did last year is we planted 500 daffodil bulbs on campus.
Oh, that's so cool.
2 Saturdays ago, we did it again. So come March, April, if you look on the campus, we strategically put them down this year, so it should look a lot nicer. We planted 500 a bunch of students, part of their CAS project, came and planted bulbs all over the campus. And then Friday, the senior class, because I know you guys when as juniors are going out to plant trees. Now, the juniors I know planted in Newdorf about 1,500 trees.
Yes.
Hopefully the seniors will do it. So, and they've done other projects where they've gone out and removed the weeds and the invasive species, invasive weeds from parks. And they get a little dirty, but our hope is that they enjoy giving back and they continue it after they leave us. So that's our hope.
Yeah, we planted, as you said, 1,500 trees collectively. I planted 40 trees by myself, which I'm very proud of.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was very proud of that. And also the daffodils, we wanted to help out, but we had our championships swimming meet for varsity swimming. So that's good.
There's always
That's
next year.
also CAS.
Exactly.
That's the activity part.
Yep. As educators, what's it like seeing students evolve from freshman year to senior year?
Okay, well, when I worked in junior high, I used to say you see the kids grow, literally. They come in that big in 6th grade, and then you see them leave that big. The big difference in high school is you see students grow mentally, physically they do grow, but they mature right in front of you. And you two are perfect examples. I remember when you came in freshman year from good counsel. Okay, I knew a little bit about you, about my family, and you guys have squeezed Curtis IB program, the whole school, and the athletics, the theater program, for everything it's got. So, and you still got a year left. And you guys, I mean, when we mention your name to anybody, oh, how great they are. They are great. Yes.
Oh, thank you.
I like to say that you guys made the Curtis IB program better, and the Curtis IB program also helped you guys become better. And you're not the only two. We have 150 juniors and seniors that they're hitting their stride now. And to sit there and hear them talk, and I'll never forget the first time I heard it. They're sitting in my office, a bunch of kids, and they're having conversation. I don't know if the word's conversation or argument about the Bay of Pigs. And I'm sitting there, I'm saying, you guys are 17, 18, the prom is next month, and you're talking about the Bay of Pigs? Yeah, that's what, and it just impressed me how they're into their studies, they have mature conversations. So I always say, I have the best job in the world. I get to work with great kids. IB program, the Software Engineering Institute, any kid who goes, it's a great job we have here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for those nice words.
No problem.
It's great to hear them from two people that you really admire, so thank you. I think as a junior in the program, I get a lot. How is it different from AP? I get that all the time, so can you please tell us how it's different?
Okay. AP and IB are both, they both have rigorous courses. You know, I'm not going to slight AP since I am an AP teacher. They both require time management, a lot of work, a lot of thinking. The big difference is the IB is a program. You know, you're good at math, you could take AP Calc. You're good at history, you could take AP American, AP Euro, whatever. IB, we have 6 subjects. You know, you have to work at all 6. You have to do the community service piece. You have to do the extended essay. You have to be part of TOK. There's a lot to it, and like Ms. Francis says, it does take up a lot of your time, so learn how to be balanced, time management. So that's the major difference, that IB is a program. AP's, it's a course. And like I said, I'm not going to say AP Calculus or any AP course is easy, but there's a difference between 6 courses and just 1.
And I also want to add that part of the assessments for both AP and IB are different. I mean, so for IB exams, many of the assessments are 2-day exams. However, I mentioned earlier, we talked about the internal assessment or the project-based piece. So that's what makes IB a little bit different also from AP, because AP is exam-based. But if you're a student who may be a better writer, and you may not be the best test taker, and you want to exemplify your knowledge, if, for example, for an arts course, they actually put on an exhibit, and that's part of their assessment. That's how it's different than AP. AP is a paper test. So, so this gives the opportunity for students to display their knowledge and their understanding of concepts and skills in a different way.
And one major difference, I know AP Calculus, and you guys would know about AP Euro. Half the AP Calculus test is multiple choice.
Yeah.
In the IB world, there's only one test that's a small percentage of multiple choice, which is bio.
And
Physics,
yes,
the science. Every other test is writing.
Yeah.
So even the math, there's no multiple choice on the math.
Can you please talk more about the scoring and how someone can earn the IB Diploma program? Because each test is out of 7, and as you said, there are 2-day tests.
Yes. So in order to earn the IB Diploma, students have to score 24 points. So you're taking at least 6 subject areas. 3 of them have to be what we call higher level subjects, which are a little bit more advanced, and then at least 3 standard level subjects. So you're taking a total of 6, and you must get 24. Each exam is 7 points, and you must get at least 24 points. However, in addition, you must score high. There's a rubric in order to score with your extended essay has to be a certain grade, and as well as TOK. So the combination of your performance on those 2 components, plus the 24 points at least that you get on the exams, that way you will get an IB Diploma. And then there's a few other little technical requirements. For example, you need to have at least 12 points in your higher level subjects. So there's several components that make you earn this diploma, which is why it's very challenging to get the diploma. But, you know, I always say, we had this conversation earlier today, we have this conversation almost every day. We want students to understand that it's not about getting the diploma, it's about the process, the journey. So, for example, you know, as an IB Diploma program candidate, you're already recognized by your colleges by being in the program. You find out your results in July after you've graduated. So at that point, you've already been accepted into your, your college or university. You've already been rewarded scholarships. So getting the diploma is a nice bonus at the end, but it's about the process. It's about the journey.
Yeah, we were talking to our friends, and I think the feeling is mutual that IB is not a jog in the park, but it's a long marathon that you have to keep a consistent pace in.
And I've talked to some past graduates of the IB program, some who have gotten the diploma, some who haven't, and they take those skills with them to write those extended essays, those internal assessments, just to think critically, and they take those skills and they apply them to their colleges, and they said it's way easier thanks to the IB program. So it's an amazing program. And I'm so happy that we get to talk about it because I'm very happy.
Although it's really difficult, it's really rewarding. So far I'm enjoying junior year. Curtis Player's production of Lucky Stiff is coming up December 13th, 14th, and 15th. So come check it out at Curtis High School.
Thanksgiving Day, I email all the IB alumni to do the turkey trot at Clove Lakes Park. The admission is just to bring food. So every year we get anywhere from 20 to 30, 40, it depends the weather. Last year we had a real cold Thanksgiving and I only got about 15 to 20. So I invite all the IB alumni, the math department, and anybody else who wants to run to show up, even if they don't run. Just come and watch, cheer each other on. And it's a great thing. You bring food, so that's also good. And I try to get the kids out of their house for Thanksgiving so they don't get yelled at by their parents, being 20-year-old not helping out. So if you're available, it's Clove Lakes Park, 10 o'clock.
Okay.
So I'm also going to add, so every January we have a recognition ceremony. Right now I think it's scheduled for January 9th. So we, during what most universities have as their winter break, we invite all the students from the previous year who were a part of the program, so whether or not they earned the diploma, we recognize them in a ceremony, so we have that. In addition, usually in March or April, we have our visual arts exhibition, which is usually hosted, last year it was at Art on the Terrace, and it's an open event where anybody can come and view the artwork that's been created by our IB students in the visual arts class. And in addition, there's a dance show, because we have a dance course, and part of their assessment is to put on a production of a dance piece, several dance pieces. So that, I believe, will be either in December or January. So you can definitely find that all on the Curtis calendar on the website.
Very cool.
We'd like to start the lightning round of the show. They are short, simple questions, either yes or no. You pick one of the options, and so we have a couple for you.
Do you like Netflix and popcorn or dinner and dancing?
Dinner and dancing.
Dinner and dancing.
Do you play any instruments?
No.
I used to play the clarinet.
Me too.
What's the last book you read?
The 5 practices to promote mathematical discussion.
I'm still reading it, Wild by Cheryl Strayed.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard of that book.
Yeah.
Yes. Physics or biology?
You can offend somebody.
I want to say both.
Okay. Pizza or sushi?
Pizza.
Pizza, yeah.
Halloween or Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
Technology or pen and paper?
Technology.
Technology.
Madonna or Beyonce?
Madonna.
I pass.
James Bond or Indiana Jones?
James Bond.
Indiana Jones.
Upstate Cabin or Jersey Shore?
Jersey Shore.
Sure.
Mets or Yankees?
Yankees.
Mets.
Oh,
Winter, spring, summer, or fall?
summer.
Summer.
Very nice. All right. Well, this concludes this episode of Tatiana and Angelica Live. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Cradell, Ms. Francis.
We had a great time interviewing you today.